Hey guys, Tucket here, and I'm doing another one of these little like build a diary things. I've been on a bit of an adventure. So the last one you would have seen, I was making a Ellie hit berserker. This isn't that. This is a Rainabar's Impale Slayer. What happened? I managed to chance a 6-link Lionized Glare using the new div card I'll show you later in under 20 chance orbs. I also 6-linked to Duresso's Defiance. And there's a weird accuracy bug that's going on with quite a lot of skills, and Ellie Hit is one of them. Let me know if you've encountered this bug on any other ability, just because I'm sending this info to GGG and it's helpful for them to know it. But basically, accuracy is being calculated strangely. So I had upwards of like 95, 97, 98% chance to hit with my Ellie Hit. And I was still regularly, very regularly, just missing white mobs. I would have to attack like 4, 5, 6 times to hit a pack of white mobs with the Ellie Hit, and it was really frustrating. And I hadn't really spent any money crafting gear on that character, so those bugs were really frustrating me. And then when I hit the 6-link, I'm like, yeah, I want to play something else. One other thing which put me off it a little bit is I don't know if I'm really a fan of bow berserkers. There's a lot of really, really cool damage things that you can do with a bow berserker, but the ramp up time of rage, if you're not using the rage support gem, feels kind of shitty on bows, especially since Mirage Archer actively works against you. So the way that rage works is you hit the enemy, you gain rage. Seems good, right? If you've got a really nice bow build, your Mirage Archer should be clearing out everything for you. So what often happens is your Mirage Archer's like sniping mobs. And during map clear, I found it kind of clunky. On bosses, I always had max rage, and it felt like amazing, just attacking really fast and all that. That felt really cool. But for map clear, yeah, didn't really like it. So anyway, that's why I jumped ship over to the Slayer. Now, I'm level 85. My character's coming along pretty nicely, but I'm still not too happy with it. There's a few things I want to change. But the gear and stuff is, like, ridiculous. Some of the stuff I've managed to get on this character means that I basically have to just play this character to endgame. Like, there's no way that I can roll off this character with all the random shit I've managed to pick up. The single target is substantially better than the map clear. The map clear, for me, is a bit lacking. So I would like to boost that, and I've got a few different ideas, but I can explain why the single target I'm very happy with. So this is a Impale Slayer. Impale is a very good mechanic. There are plenty of very good guides to check it out if you want to see the full math behind Impale. Don the Crown has a very, very good one. But basically what Impale does is it stores physical damage on an enemy up to a cap, and then when you hit that enemy, it releases the damage. So it's kind of like you're putting charges, and then when you hit it, the charges explode, dealing damage. Think of it like that. Think of it, you know, kind of like you're putting explosive rounds into an enemy or some shit. Very nice, level up. So what you do is you want to get 100% impale chance. So you can see I have 100% chance to impale with Rain Arrows, and I have 47% increased impale effect. So the 100% chance here. I get that through these 3 impale nodes here, these impale nodes here, and Dread Banner, which also gives impale shenanigans. And I have a impales you inflict last 2 additional hits while using Pride, and I'm using Pride and I'm going pure physical. So I'm basically getting loads of bonus ramped up damage, and this is like crazy damage scaling. Really nice for bosses. For map clear, it doesn't really do that much because you're never hitting like maximum stacks while map clearing. Feels really nice for bossing. One thing which is pretty cool about Impale is usually coming over to this far left side of the tree feels pretty rough. But since I'm going pure physical, Iron Grip's actually a really nice scaler. I've got 344 strength. This actually gives me like a good amount of damage. And since I'm rooting along this way, I'm also using a Lionized Full, and I'm converting this really tasty sword cluster. All of these nodes, or this crit chance, or this crit multi, to all work for bows. It also means that when I get more levels, I can also convert these nodes, which give a bunch of bow damage and stun duration if you want to do stun shenanigans. And it also means I can convert these 3 nodes. It misses this one, sadly. It'd be really good if I hit that, but I convert these for fizz damage AoE, fizz damage, attack speed. Really, really strong. Another thing which I absolutely adore is the Timer's Jewel. So I just hit my first Timer's Jewel of the league. I was doing a bunch of emblem bosses on this character. And this is a decent one, but I can do better. And this is a really good spot. Like, this is one of the best spots for this jewel. So if you don't know how Timeless Jewels work, each one functions slightly differently, but the Karui Jewel, which is what this one is, all the minor travel nodes gain 2 strength. Like, good travel nodes gain 4 strength. Again, keep in mind I'm Iron Grip, so these give me damage and they give me life. And then the notables gain an effect. So this one has 5% of physical damage from hits taken as fire damage. You can get the same notables multiple times. So theoretically, if I divined this enough times and kept re-rolling what this gave me, I could theoretically get 5% of fizz taken as fire on like all of these nodes. But anyway, this one is giving me some additional strength. This gives melee crit multi. Obviously, I don't need melee crit multi, but very powerful. This here would give 20% melee damage. This gives some additional attack leech. This gives more melee damage. This node here gains 5% of physical damage as extra fire. This is 10% reduced extra damage from crits. And this node gives you another 10% reduced extra damage from crits. Really, really powerful. I'm gonna try and keep rolling this until I get either a bunch of like fizz from hits taken as fire damage, reduced damage from crits. You can also get like bonus life rolls on here. And I'm going to keep doing it, and then when I get a really spicy one, I'm going to spec into Acro Phase Acro. Silent Steps is a really good 3-pointer just by itself, because it has 5% reduced damage taken from blinded enemies. That's good. This is a very good 2-pointer by itself. It gives you maximum res and chance of evade attacks. Frenzy stuff is obviously really good. These 3 nodes aren't amazing since I'm using a Lionized Glare, but they still give like attack speed, attack speed, attack speed. So if this hit like a decent mod, that's worth taking. So theoretically, I could convert 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could get 8 notables, 7 of which, this is the only one I wouldn't want in my build anyway, but I could get 8 notables I'd want in my build anyway, all giving me an extra stat. That's like crazy powerful. And then not only that, I'd also be getting, you know, a good like 70, it'd be more like 80 strength alongside it, which, you know, increases my tooltip. So that's like pretty insane. Really, really love these jewels. These jewels are really, really cool. But otherwise, I just really like this build because it's a very compact tree. It doesn't have much traveling at all going to it. And it has a few really cool gearing options like the Lionized Fall, which feels pretty cool. The Lethal Pride, or whichever times jewel you go for, but probably in this spot. It's got the Watcher's Eye shenanigans. There's actually loads of really good Watcher's Eye mods to go for. You can run a level 1 precision for a little bit of extra crit. You can then hit precision mods. You can hit pride mods. All around, love it, love it, love it. Let's get into the gear, kind of my options, and then I'll show you what the proper path of building should look like. Only 5k life, looks pretty trash with the exact same gear at like mid-90s. You're looking at 6.5k life, depending on if you go acro or phase acro or not. But yeah, currently as I'm using a Lionized Glare, I need to divine this up. This isn't a very well rolled one. Duresso's Defiance. This is by no means my endgame chest, but this is a very nice chest to use. It has a good amount of armor and evasion on it. It gives you a decent amount of life. It gives you a little bit of chance to dodge. It gives you guaranteed endurance charge on kill. Very strong this league, since most of this league is physical damage based. It gives up to 100% increased onslaught effect. So a perfectly rolled one of these. Basically, read this chest has 20% movement speed, 20% attack speed, and it generates you onslaught, and it generates endurance charges, and it has dodge. Really fucking nice chest. Pretty whatever amulet. This is pretty trash. I want a nice crit multi amulet with a much higher flat fizz roll. But I do need I do need dex at the moment, and it's got some life, it's got some resists. Really nice steel ring. Really happy with this. I threw a whole bunch of essences, a whole bunch of fossils in, and then I eventually hit this, and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. I've got myself a tier 3 life roll, a tier 2 fizz roll, a bunch of resist, and I Elrond crafted minus mana cost of skills on there. This is a terrible ring. So yeah, that's trash, that's trash. This is a pretty trash belt. I could get a much better one, but it's like okay enough for now. The jewel's decent. It's a life crit multi damage if you've killed recent jewel. That's all pretty good. And then these boots are pretty nice. These have life, chance to dodge spell hits, and then a bunch of resists. and they've got an attack and cast speed if you Cold Receive Enchant on there. And then this quiver is like an okay quiver, but it could be much better. So it's missing a crit chance roll. It could have a much higher attack speed roll. It could have flat fizz on there. But it's like, it's okay. As for links, what I'm currently using, I might change these links. Brutality, that's locked in place. Rain of Arrows, obviously locked in place. Mirage Archer, obviously locked in place. Impale, obviously locked in place. Damage on full life, definitely locked in place. Vicious Proj, I'm probably going to swap this out for Conk Effect. So the way that Rain of Arrows works, if I go to a nice open area, I should just get back into the map. So you fire in a volley. So each of these additional arrows, you can overlap and hit the same target multiple times if it's a very large target. The more area you have, the more the arrows spread out. So you reduce your single target with too much AoE, but boost your map clear. So what Conk Effect would do is Conk Effect would be a substantial single target increase, because not only is it a higher damage multiplier than Vicious Projectiles, but it would also cluster the arrows into a smaller space, meaning that more arrows will hit the rares or the bosses or what you're trying to kill. So Conk is massive, massive single target. Eventually I could go for like a weapon swap. I hate gem swapping, so maybe I'd have like one with increased AoE or Vicious Projectiles for map clear, and then swap into Conk for single target. Or I might just run Conk for everything and be like, who gives a fuck? Who cares? In my chest, and again, I could also drop my chest links and just have 2 Rain of Arrow links here. I have a Curse on hit, Vulnerability, Power Charge on crit, Frenzy, GMP Pierce. I nearly always forget to press that. I just kind of like put it on boss just to apply Frenzy charges. Sometimes get Power Charges from it and get the Vulnerability. But this is very, very fluff. This is very fluff. This is completely optional. Could also drop it completely and run a Comb's Heart. In my gloves, I run Pride. Pride is really nice, so nearby enemies take at least 9% more fizz. If it's a boss, if I'm staying near them, it goes up to 39%, very strong. Maim support is linked to my Flesh and Stone. If I'm in Blood stance, they get maimed, and they take a bunch of increased fizz damage, and maim Flesh and Stone, it's good. Enlighten just to reduce mana reservations, and then in my boots I've got a Bone Offering to destroy corpses, Cold Snap, cast and damage taken, and then I have a Dread Banner because I need a Dread Banner somewhere. Ideally, I'll run an Unset Ring, or I'll just drop a random fluff support and I'll run a level 1 Precision for a little bit of additional crit chance. Don't need the accuracy, it's like 20 mana and it gives me like 40% crit, may as well. And yeah, that's basically the character. And I guess I'll show you some Path of Building shenanigans. The damage isn't calculating Impale at all. It's not calculating any crazy overlap, and that's the damage per arrow. So the damage is more like double that with Impale stuff stacked up, so that's like 200k-ish per arrow, and then if you think about like the arrow overlap and all that cool stuff, and my gear is really nothing that special. This is with my current gear, my current character, and there's like 2 different trees. This is like the Acro Phase Acro Jewel, and again, the jewel isn't, the Timeless Jewel isn't being seen in Path of Building. And then this is, if you don't want to go Acro and you don't have the jewel, you just get more life and stuff. Acro versus life this league. I've also noticed my green screen's been scuffed for this entire video. Acro Phase Acro is really nice if you have Super Slayer Leech, which I do, and I should also talk about that. The thing is, a lot of this league is really crazy physical damage. So Acro Phase Acro makes sense if you have enough life and enough leech that when you get hit, you can guarantee you won't get one shot, then your leech instantly heals you to full. And then as long as you're only being hit once every like 5 seconds, and or 3 seconds, or even once every 2 seconds, as long as you're instantly full healing and you're not getting one shot, feels good, man. I'm probably going to go into Phase Acro since they've also nerfed a lot of the really scary fizz damage this league. And since I have a lot of endurance charges, I think I'll be okay. So, why did I go Brutal further? Why didn't I go Bane of Legends? Why did I pick what I picked? Why am I using Lionized Glare? Overwhelm sets my base crit at 8%. Normally, Lionized Glare is a 5% base crit weapon, which is terrible. Having 8% base crit feels good, man. Also, all of this damage scaling isn't including the crazy amounts of crit multi I get from Overwhelm. Now, realistically, versus bosses, I'm probably going to have like 1, maybe 2 enemies nearby, so it's only an extra 20% crit multi. That's still a lot of damage. Like, if you look at this duel, this random crit multi duel, that gives, you know, a decent amount of deeps right there, 3%. So that's like a 6% thing right there. It's pretty good. Also, nearby enemies have minus crit multi, means I take less damage. Headsman, brilliant. So 20% more damage against uniques, 10% more damage if you've killed recently. Cannot take reflected physical damage. I run Brutality. I only do physical damage to this build. This means I can run every single map mod. Very, very nice. All these minor nodes just give attack damage, attack speed, attack damage leech. Endless Hunger gives me stun and bleed immune while leeching. Very powerful. And then Brutal Fervor gives me 15% increased attack speed while leeching. Life leech effects not removed at full life. This lasts for 5 whole seconds. 5 whole seconds is a really long time, guys. 50% increased attack damage while leeching, and 6% reduced damage taken while leeching. That's really powerful. So that's 6% damage reduction. If you're doing the acro tree, you get 5% damage reduction here, so that's 11%. And if you want to, if you have a way of applying bleed reliably, you can also take bloodletting, which gives you damage, because like this fun node is 4% increased attack damage against bleeding enemies, and an additional 5% reduced damage taken from bleeding enemies. Loads of damage reduction you can fit into this build. Soul of Steel is very good. I don't think it's worth 4 points, but you can take it for even more physical damage reduction and max res. Like, there's loads of damage reduction that you can pump into this build. It's just about knowing what nodes to take, what to drop, so on and so forth. And, yeah, I just really, really like this character. Slayer just feels good to play. And expect me to be on this for quite a long time, since, you know, my Watcher's Eye cost me something like 8 exalts. Cost me quite a lot. I haven't got that much currency left now. I'm feeling pretty broke. One thing I have been doing a lot of, and I would recommend everyone does, if you're struggling to make currency this league, is Chaos Recipe. Chaos Recipe is very lucrative. So what you do is, I have 3 quad tabs that I just map, and I just throw everything in here. Then when these 3 quad tabs are full, I sort through everything, put them all into my appropriate tabs, and then back here, I've got these beautiful UnID'd Chaos Recipe tabs. So, UnID'd Chaos Recipe is 2 Chaos a pop. If you do it the way I do it, it's fairly efficient, and you just go straight through, vendor, go straight through, vendor, go straight through, vendor.